Part two.
Part two. So let's talk about the shelter because it's really bothering me how they're handling stuff at the shelter when we volunteered there.
Yeah.
And a couple of guys out the gracious of our hearts. One of the things that's really bothering me is that when we volunteered there, we noticed a guy was getting loud.
Well, wait. Well, let's change it up a little bit because you saying volunteer, and basically we did go. We observed what was going on. If we would volunteer, then we couldn't have observed the way we observed. We couldn't have seen things the way it naturally happened because people would have been on their best behavior. So we went in there and we pretended as though we needed services. And a lot of us stood back and just watched. We rejected like the food and whatnot, but we did watch and we talked to some other people. And this is the feedback that we're in seeding right now, the feedback from what we observed and what people brought to our attention while we were there in one form or another. Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Like racism up in there. Blatant racism.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of racism going there, considering that the majority is African American, and then the manager there is white, Caucasian, and there's only like maybe a handful of white people there, and there are like around 200 black people.
Why do you think that there's so many so-called black people in there compared to so-called white people?
Wow. Well, when we observe, mainly lack of education. That would be one reason because when we got there, when we watched, they was all cursing and listening to hip hop on their MP3 players, smartphone, iPods, versus the white people, they was all together, but they was congregating, talking, I don't know about what, because the atmosphere was just too loud when we was there.
I don't know. I don't think it's due to the lack of education because I see so many melanated people with degrees and whatnot. I think, in my personal opinion, why the ratios is so different is most of the so-called white people, the Albions, they have everything basically handed to them. Where we have to scratch, bite, and fight tooth and nail from the time falling out of the womb for anything of value we get. And we constantly have to keep proving ourselves to not only one another, because we are, after that Willie Lynch letter, we are the biggest police of our own people.
All right.
Then after you have to prove yourself every breath on everything you do and say with your own people, you got these other people out here, those others, and you got to do the same thing with them. Where if you are pale faced with an accent, oh good day, mate, one of those, or tea and crumpets, then because you're pale skinned with that accent, everything you say has got to be the gospel. I mean, are you freaking serious?
You're right about that. So do you think that it was right when the fight broke out, regardless of who started what? So do you think that it was right that the manager banned them for 60 days from coming back?
Who did he? Did he ban both parties?
Yeah, both of them for 60 days, even though it was their last resort there, because they're in a homeless shelter. Where's they going to go?
That's a catch-22. That is a catch-22, but you got to keep in mind you're talking to somebody that feels they don't have enough information to pass judgment on a lot of things. There's a mitigating circumstances. There's reasons up under the reasons why this is going on. So when we get to the investigation and the grassroots of things, but I got something for you. I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna stop doing it, because I know if people listen to this and do what I'm about to say I did, they're gonna beat this thing to death and the system's gonna change. But how I used to beat traffic tickets.
Oh man, tell me about that, because I can't get it. Can't beat traffic tickets.
Well, I would get a state ID.
Uh-huh.
I get my driver's license, go in and say, I want a state ID, and they issue me a state ID. So when I'm traveling down the thoroughways, I would when they ask me for my driver's license, I'd be like, I don't have it, or I got my state ID. And I could be doing 120 miles an hour, blowing through red lights like Smokey and the Bandit, right? Just going. And they pulled me over, I'm like, wow. He said I ran the light. I didn't even know the light could run, but okay. I thought it was a fixed object. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. I give them the state ID, they write me a ticket, but the ticket never is for running the red lights, and it's never for doing 100, 110, 120 miles an hour. The ticket is always for no driver's license.
Right.
And I was sat there for a while. I'm like, why didn't he write me all those other? He could have wrote me an onslaught of tickets, but he didn't. And then I started thinking, when I took my driver's test and passed it, I had to sign a document saying that whatever state I was in, I would abide by all of the laws of the road there and abroad, which is a contract.
Oh.
So as long as you got that driver's license, you got a contract stating that you're going to abide by all this stuff, right? And I'm like, oh, that's why he didn't write me a ticket. Ha ha. That light bulb popped on. And I go to court and I issue my driver's license, and it's like no harm, no foul.
Wow.
Now that I done said this and I'm about to put it out over the air, I know people are just going to act a fool with the situation, and I ain't going to be able to do it no more.
Oh yeah, now is this uncensored or?
Well, we're trying to keep it rated G.
Rated G.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, another thing that I urge people to do is open up a business. And if you understand what I'm saying, open up a business. I'm going to just say one little thing about opening up a business. You open up a business, a corporation sole, however you say it, LLC, and sell your car for $1 to your corporation. Your car have to be paid for, not leasing or none of that. I mean, you can do a lease, but it's better if your car is paid for. Now that you done sold your car to the corporation and the plates and everything is registered to the corporation, not you, on the title, place yourself as a lien holder on that title and registration. Now that you're a lien holder, place a lien. If nothing else, a simple mechanics lien, people. I got to hold your hands because y'all don't do research for some reason. It might be the food you're eating, slowing your thought process down. I don't know. But a mechanics lien, simplify life. Now, your car come up missing. When your car is found, if the car is worth $10,000, you done put about $25,000 worth of work in this mechanic's lien on the car. Whoever owns your car, if they sell it, they're holding it. They now owe you. Do your administrative remedy. You know the administrative remedy. You get it every day when you get them bills, and it's a notice of non-payment. So they put you on notice. And they gave you a second letter saying notice of non-payment. And they give you a third notice saying they're about to shut your utilities off. Administrative process. You see it every day. You get it done to you, do it to them. Get your money. And you can find a bank. They're all over the line. People buying bad paper. They call it buying paper. You can also sell your judgment. Maybe get 10 cents on the dollar. So you got a $20,000 judgment. Some money beats no money. Go get your car. Go get you another car. Light bulbs, people? Anybody? Or am I getting crickets?
Wow, that's deep right there. That's very deep. I didn't know that. So how long have you been doing this, or?
If I tell you, I got to kill you. I kill you now! Ah! No.
Just giving you guys some, would you call it advice?
Teeth. I'm not giving nobody no advice. This is just some of the things that I've been doing. This is what I've been doing. If you may not want to try it. You may not want to do it. You see, I'm right here. You don't see no bars up in here. I'm sitting right here talking to you. Anybody trying to sell you a process and get you to spend all your hard-earned money and work and labor to do stuff, they full of crap. Follow them into the courtrooms. Have them pull out documents. Have them pull out the court recorder, the stenographer's notes. Have them pull all that out and read what they did and said before you spend a dime. If they can't give you that information, walk away, run, leave them alone. Quit getting bent over the barrel paying for all this crap. That's just that, crap, toilet paper. Basically, if they charging you for it, they done beat the thing to death if it worked, and it don't work anymore. The system changes. It's ever evolving, and you have to evolve with it. One of the Kennedy boys had a bad accident. Somebody passed on in that accident, and the family tried to sue him, and they couldn't get nothing but the money that was in his pocket at that time, those FRNs, that fiat. And why they couldn't get anything? Because he didn't own anything. His corporation owned everything. Think about it.
Dang.